Hello my friends. Welcome to Reddit Rabbit. Before we start, catch the rabbit at the bottom right corner, smash that subscribe button and leave a comment. r/TrueOffMyChest. I am so sick of how X-driven American culture is. It's everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Netflix, mentioned in every rap song. Everywhere there's next to naked girls showing off their bodies and people eat it up. These people flaunt and gloat to fuel their ego and vanity and often become highly followed for simply having a nice body. This only makes the younger audience want to be like them. That's why there's a billion high school girls doing TikTok dances in bikinis or showing how good they are at doggy style or revealing when they lost their virginity. I just wish people praised actual talent more and weren't so mind controlled by X. And it doesn't help that society today always tries to promote X positivity, like X is that important. It isn't. X is something completely unnecessary to survival, yet people act like it's the only thing that matters. I'm American and it can be jarring, but I've learned I don't have to participate. I remember when I was a freshman I was friends with a guy who bragged about losing his virginity when he was 12, which shocked me. Why would you brag about that? It's scary. Oh my god, I have been working in tattoo shops for 14 years and some of it I've heard like that and the bragging of similar stuff. I'm like, where the frick were your parents? Most of the time not around at all. I wasn't even interested in boys at that age. I was too busy climbing trees, riding my bike, catching critters and being a fricking kid. I accidentally made my ex realize he was raped as a kid when he bragged to me about how old he was when he began having X and was doing an older woman. I was like, that's too young to be making the decision to have X. That had to have been the other person goading you on. However, statistics show younger people are having less X than previous generations. They may flaunt it more, but they are doing it less. It's almost amazing how non-Xly accepting our culture is, for the level it's X-driven. That might be part of the problem. X permeates American society, but is still seen as taboo. The tabooness of it is probably what drives people towards it, honestly. That, and it just feels good, and we're more or less compelled to have X. Evolution did its work well. Now even though we no longer need nearly as many kids to move on as a species, and men who don't want them, we still can't seem to cut X out of our lives. Evolution made X too good not to do it, because it wants us to squirt out as many babies as possible. Well, we really wouldn't do anything if we didn't find some sort of compulsion to do it. Some sort of intrinsic feeling of reward, peer pleasure from doing stuff. If we got pleasure out of watching grass grow or paint dry, we'd be doing that too. What I'm saying is, dopamine is a hell of a drug. At this point, I'd just be happy if businesses would stop trying to use tits to sell me lawnmowers and smelly shaving creams. It's condescending and demeaning to everyone involved. I don't know, man. If I had a nickel for every time my John Deere got me laid, I could buy the John Deere company. Girls are always like, hey cutie, does the lawn match your balls? And I'm like, you know it baby, dry and patchy. Women love that stuff. Don't even get me started on my backhoe. She sits behind me while I'm on the tractor. What a true off my chest. This definitely isn't only America nor only women. And it's not even true. Just earlier today, one of the top posts on Reddit, commenters were frothing at the mouth about how terrible it is when parents have X in the same house that their kids are in. Like, goddamn, y'all are the biggest prudes I have ever seen. Commenters were frothing at the mouth about how terrible it is when parents have X in the same house that their kids are in. Did you make a mistake? The same house? Is that supposed to say the same room? Are people supposed to keep a second home to frickin' to protect the children? Can I see Bob's and vegan? Send me nacked pic. Hello. Bitch lasagna. Milk truck just arrive. I understand your take. I do. I was raised to think like this. But it honestly never seemed right to me. The choice, as I see it, is between two different societies. Society A, X and all sensuality is repressed and considered as a key or dirty and immoral and is to be treated as something to be wiped clean of a normal human mind. All others to be deemed repugnant. Society B, X is an open and, sometimes, casual experience between consenting individuals who are open and honest about their God-given urge to want to smash. But with reasonable safety and age-appropriate restrictions. No pedis. I'd honestly like a bit more self-control from the younglings, but they will learn it in time. If you start demonizing natural urges, then the next thing you know you have a society that is rampant with unhealthy and unhappy people. I'll take society B with all its blemishes and booty clappings. They'll figure it out. Just don't tell kids what they are feeling is twisted or evil, and they will come around once the hormones die down. In the meantime, try turning TikTok, YouTube and Netflix off if it is interfering with your mental state. I think that there is a middle ground between the two societies you mentioned. Op is not complaining about X, rather about its excess and how everything is exolized. The biggest internet influencers have their genes as their main selling point, and people look up to those people, instead of those with real talent. It's not about repressing X. I agree that it's a good thing not repressing our urges, but controlling the is the smart thing to do. Otherwise we will end up in a drug-ridden lazy society if all we want to follow is our urges. In my opinion, it's always smart to stay away from the extremes and find the middle ground. Generally speaking, those people with high number of followers that are only popular because of looks promote a culture of narcissism, which isn't good. I think this is a lot more of an issue of how social media impacts us, and especially young people, than X positivity. Kids will always want to be popular. Kids will always want to be liked. Social media is just giving them a different, more toxic and dangerous way to get that. Besides, people looking up to others because of their looks is absolutely nothing new. How popular did the Victoria's Secret show used to be? Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, all the MTV shows like Room Raiders? Things have always been highly sexualized. People like X. Music, too. Rock and roll was a bit more coded than rap is now, but most of it was still about XLOL. It's just that now kids and teens have a method of expressing their sexuality outwardly to literally the entire world rather than just the people they go to school with. Which in my opinion is dangerous, not because they shouldn't be owning and exploring their sexuality, but because there are adults who will try to take advantage of it. And due to the fact that they're probably gonna have years and years worth of cringe material immortalized on the internet. Some of us luckily didn't have that problem, lol. Basically, I don't think things are really much more sexualized than they ever used to be. It's just that social media changes and amplifies things. Teenagers have always been obsessed with X. That's just being a teenager. But they're actually having less X now than ever. It's just that rather than playing 7 minutes in heaven and having lots of unprotected X, they have Instagram to express their sexuality, to an extent. I agree with you for the most part, but rap, I'm an avid fan of rap and can list 50 or so rap songs that haven't nothing to do with X. But yes, I could list 50 more that are. The rap game is shifting from X to mental health, to be honest. I totally agree, and the problem is that is not only in US. In Europa as well. Dude, this is everywhere, and this is horrible spoiler. It is not like in the 70s. Because even if I didn't live in these years, I know that it wasn't just X for X. There was something behind. The first time that people could say their sexuality freely or have X with who they wanted when they wanted, and that people were free to do what they wanted to. But now, this is just mercantile X. A common thing which is losing its importance since we see it everywhere every time. It is perverting. Maybe it's because I use an ad blocker and view different content than you, but I don't really think it's that bad. The 90s and early 2000s seemed more X obsessed, but even back then I don't think it was really a problem. I would agree with you if you were talking about sexualization of men and women, but targeting only women sound more like a misogyne point of view on women body exposure and less on sexualization in general. Am I wrong to think that of your post? I agree with everything except for X is unnecessary for human survival. It's literally a biological need, but okay. How is it a need? I need to drink water and eat, but I can live my whole normal lifespan without having X. If you mean it's necessary to survive BC, we need to reproduce. That's true, but I meant more like it's not vital to being alive. In his defense, he said human survival. In your defense, you didn't. If a male doesn't ejaculate, his body will do it for him as a wet dream. Males who ejaculate at least 21 days out of a month have significantly reduced chances of prostate cancer. People who have X are noticeably happier and more content than those who don't. Your brain chemistry expects the release of happy chemicals that X produces.